okay, boom, you're trying to figure out how to succeed in life. You're trying to figure out what the best move is, how to become financially independent, financially free. And you've not quite figured it out. You've not really wrapped your head around what it is that you actually need to do in order to get to the next level, to increase your chances of becoming financially free. I've not figured out completely how to become financially free, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I have spent a lot of time just building the building blocks and the foundational components that I think I now have installed to be able to create that life. And I'll just tell you my own story. It all started essentially when I had problems with my university, essentially my university course, because I had an accident and it basically just unbalanced the structure of my course. So then I had to think, well, worst case scenario, what happens? I need to figure life out without a degree. And then I just started to think about that. And then that was like the moment that my entrepreneurial side was given birth to, because I was like, well, I need to figure it out myself. I need to figure out how to make money using my own experience, using my own means. Essentially, had to figure out how to essentially say and convince someone else that I am the person that they can entrust their money to get a job done. And then I started thinking, so step one, you got to first open up your mind to becoming a service for someone else, for another business. Second, then it's like self-identifying. It's like a self-identification stage where you essentially just try to figure out where and what your key strengths are and what your what your services would be. Like at the time, I went down a path of coaching and art, and then I built a art and fashion brand, sustainable art and fashion brand, where essentially I painted on clothes. Like I painted directly on clothes I sourced from sustainable outlets. So say like charity shops, what are they called? Like, you know, like clearance warehouses, outlets, like imperfect outlet stores. Yeah, and I spent a lot of time just painting on clothes. And in the meanwhile, I was then curating coaching videos like on Instagram in the midst of all of that, and then writing a book, because I thought my two biggest strengths right now is the fact that I've gone through a journey of self-development, and at that point in time I had barely gone through a journey of self-development. I had spent I had spent a long, I wanted to just teach other people what I knew, and I wanted to share what I already have learned through my life. And by that point I had already learned quite a lot, but in reflection I was like, oh, what did I know then? How could I coach people when I was that young? But I still have valuable lessons. I still had valuable lessons, and I still have valuable lessons now. I digress. I saw potential to become a coach, to become an artist. My rationality with that was that if I was just coaching, then there's a creative side of my brain that I'm not utilizing. So then through being an artist, then I can learn how to utilize that part of my brain. So yeah, that self-identification stage led me to figuring out coaching, artistry. Then actually doing it for a certain amount of time then allowed me to see the the fruit of the labor and how it will actually affect my life. Like, say for example, how is my art and fashion business actually going to help me live the life that I truly want to live? How is it going to fund the life that I really want to live? And then I basically realised that it wasn't going to fund the life that I wanted to live, essentially. And I had to just pivot into a different sort of degree, a different sort of discipline, even. And then from that point, I started to figure out a different service, a service that I could give to people, essentially, from the comfort of my own home, because I want to travel, I want to go from A to B, and I don't want to be locked into one place for a job, essentially. And now this was a few years ago, but now I'm quite comfortable with the idea of a job and whatnot. But it led me into a self-discovery stage again, and then also a place where I needed to upskill. And upskill is what I did. Started learning how to code, how to use AI, started learning how to integrate these services into businesses. And yeah, from there, Bob's your uncle, really. I'm kind of at present day now where I have a better understanding on how to curate a business. But that's just my journey. So, long story short, I figured out different services. And through figuring out certain services, I then spoke to people and put myself in environments where I could sell those services. Events, marketplaces, exhibitions, networking events, and now cold calling, putting myself in a position where I can get in front of someone who's willing to buy. So that's what you need to do. If you do want to become financially free, of course, I'm not saying that you can't you can't become financially free via a 9 to 5, I don't think, because a 9 to 5 is literally by definition something that is not quote unquote financially free. But you can reach there by like investing the money that you get from 9 to 5s, and then from there creating a business with that money, etc, etc. But through the entrepreneurial way of being financially free, then you achieve that basically just through understanding that you need to create some sort of a service for someone else, for another business. And the more specific you can make it, they call this a vertical business. In entrepreneurial terms, a vertical business is basically a business that slots into one very specific pain point of a business, solves that one specific issue in a great way, essentially. So say you could solve the internal communication of businesses, of teams, by creating a communication workshop, and then you just offer that for businesses, and that's vertical business. And if you spend 5 years doing that, there probably will be places that will appreciate your advice, essentially. But yeah, like the whole path is essentially just figuring out what your personal like essence is in the world of business, and then just talking to other people about that, and then you'll be able to understand if the product that you have created or the service that you have created is going to be worth someone else's time and effort. And chances are it is, but if it's not, that's also okay. Like, you can't guarantee that the thing that you want to sell is actually going to be wanted, and that is completely okay. You just observe, be honest, pivot. So yeah, good luck, good riddance, have a lovely day.